Hi, I am Soni. I am an editor from India and I have been editing since 2012.
I'm Novem Linguae. I've been editing since 2009. I'm an administrator, technical editor. I'm from the United States.
Yeah, and we apologize in advance because this presentation will be a little bit faster, but we will try to do what we can. So, adminship on NWiki suffers a big problem. The number of active admins on the English Wikipedia is declining, and it has been declining for quite some time. This is the active admins per month, where you define activity by 30 or more edits in the last 2 months. 30 or more edits is not a lot, but it has been stagnating for quite a while. This is what you see when you check for RFAs, the request for adminship, how new admins are created on the wiki. The same graph, exactly the same decline. Since 2010s, we have been getting fewer admins every single year. Why? RFAs are stressful. The request for admission process in the English Wikipedia is essentially a bunch of editors commenting on you, and it is a public discussion that goes on for 7 days. 7 days is a lot of time. When everybody is scrutinizing every single thing you do, when one mistake you can make can be derailing your entire adminship, it becomes very, very frustrating. The stakes are high. Admins, like candidates who fail, usually do not apply, and if they do after a year or maybe more. So, what can we do about it? We have tried admin reforms many times. This is how many times we have tried, over 10 of them over the years. They have usually been ineffectual. There have been changes, adminship has been unbundled sometimes, there have been thresholds that are reduced, but it does not improve the overall situation. So, changing RFA is very, very hard. Everybody agrees that there is a problem, but why the previous reforms have not worked is because the solutions are not things we can agree on. There is resistance from a lot of the community, and the proposals have always needed to be perfect in order to pass. If you're not suggesting something that like covers every single ground, it does not pass. It goes in the perennial pile where somebody will suggest it over and over for the next 10 years, 20 years. This is RFA 2024. There was a recent RFA in the English Wikipedia that was not particularly nice, and the community just on its own decided maybe we should do something about it. Somebody made the first proposal, and then people added to it, and when it was moved, it looked like this. From February 24 to April 24, there were proposals added. A lot of proposals being added. Yes. From February to April 24, we had 45 proposals on the RFA 24 process, 35 of which failed. But 10 of them succeeded in different layers of, in different stages. And we will talk about the stages later. But we had finally some successes. What were they? Some of them were pretty inconsequential, I would say. There were like, voters must be extended confirmed, which is they need to have a certain experience level to be able to vote on an RFA. But overall, it does not change the adminship much. There were some proposals that did change a lot of things. For example, discussion only. As I said, for 7 days, everybody is voting on your adminship. There was a proposal that maybe the first 2 days, nobody says support or oppose. You just give your feedback. And then after that, you have 5 days of voting. It ran for 5 times, and we realized it is not that great. There was another one, which was much better, which is having monitors. Sometimes people are incivil, they have policy violations in RFAs, and it has not been addressed very well. So now, any admin who is uninvolved, they can say that I will not be voting on it, I will not be commenting on the candidate, but what I will do is make sure that everybody is staying within lines. If somebody is saying something that shouldn't be said, I will strike that. That was implemented, and nearly everybody agrees it has been great. The two proposals that we will talk about in more depth is recall and elections. I shall now talk about recall. So what is recall? It is as simple as adminship is given by the community via not a vote, but a discussion, but the community cannot remove admins. Only ARBCOM could, and ARBCOM, all the discussions were lengthy and long drawn, and even then, not all the cases that were like serious and needed the attention were being addressed. And this is a problem because if adminship is effectively a lifelong experience, then that means the voters on RFA would have extremely high standards. There did exist something called as voluntary recall, where if I am an admin, I can say that yes, if these conditions are met, I will stand for RFA again. Sure, that is a great idea, but it was unenforceable, and over the last 10 years, only 2 of them actually stood for it. So what was the proposal that we actually had? Oh yeah, recall has been proposed 28 times in the last 20 years, or some form of de-adminship. It just has not passed yet. What did we try to pass this time? It is as simple as you have a petition that is based on signatures, and if a certain threshold is met, then you ask the admin, maybe you run for the RFA again. So there were 3 phases to it. The first phase, neither proposal passed. My proposal was based slightly on the journal Wikipedia. The phase 2, we had individual discussions on every subtopic. There were a lot of moving parts to this entire thing, and we put all of them under a vote, and each of them came to a conclusion and a consensus, and then we merged them together, and that was recall. So what did we end up passing? So if 25 extended confirmed editors, again, that is like 300 edits and 5 months or something like that, if you have been around for a while, and if you say that maybe this admin should be not an admin anymore, or at least they should go through that community trust again, then in 30 days, if 25 of you say that, then an admin has to go through an RRFA. Obviously, if you're an admin, you end up making a few enemies, so we wanted to give a few security guarantees to the admin. For one, RFA standards are like 75% for an automatic pass, so RRFA is like 60%. It's a 15% lower standards, and we did not want spurious recalls for everybody because this was something completely new to the English Wikipedia. There was a serious set of concerns that it would be used against everybody or it would be used in a targeted way. So again, any single person can't try to like recall every single admin. And if you have already passed a community trust thing in recent times, which is an RFA, or you have been a bureaucrat, or you were elected to the ARBCOM, you're sufficiently trusted. For 1 year, you cannot be recalled. And finally, discussion was encouraged. This is something NVK really likes. We like discussing things. So in the recall, in the last 10 months, we had about 8 recall petitions. 1 was withdrawn, 1 admin resigned, and 5 of them failed to pass through, and 1 is pending. So how did recall end up doing? Everything was not on fire. Yeah. So the community is still getting used to the recall. So the best thing I can say is that we have gotten more accountability. There have been several admins who have had long-standing issues that were asked to stand again, and things are looking up. And now, Novem for the admin elections.
Thanks, Soni. Test. Thanks, Soni. So administrator elections, this is the other big proposal in this group of proposals. The first one was recall, the second one's administrator elections. What are administrator elections all about? The old process has a lot of kind of negative commentary sometimes if people oppose the candidate. So the idea behind administrator elections is to do secret voting. There's less opposes in less detail. That's just something that we think